Welcome to another episode of Intuition First podcast with your hosts, Heather McKay and Christine Mira. We're here to connect you to your intuition and the gifts of the universe to get more out of your life and your business.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Intuition First. I'm Heather McKay.
And I'm Christine Mira. Hey, how are ya? Howdy.
Howdy. What do you want to talk about today, Christine?
I want to talk about building new neural pathways.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Right. And so let me give the content. So when we talk about becoming a victor in our life versus a victim of our life in the way that life happens for us and how we respond to it, when you're coming out of a really challenging time, or you've been the recipient of a narcissist in your life, whether that be your parents, your siblings, your spouse, it's really hard because you, as the person you respond in such a way that keeps you safe, right? Doesn't necessarily mean you're responding in a healthy way. But if you're a child and you've grown up with narcissistic parents, you are constantly searching, in your environment outside of you. How are they feeling today? What's going on? Are they happy? Are they mean? Will they say something, snarky and hurtful? And so you're constantly feeling into the environment, even though you may not be consciously aware.
Yeah, like you're walking on eggshells or something.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
You're afraid of triggering something. You don't know what that is.
That could be overly emotional and could be painful.
Right.
By whatever people are saying to you.
Yeah.
So you'll hear a lot of empaths say, oh man, I'm just so exhausted. Everybody's feelings. I can feel everybody's feelings. Right, because they were probably in some way, somehow, some time in their life, they've had a relationship with somebody who was domineering, who was powerful, and you were probably a child, and you're just trying to cope and survive. Right. And so one of the survival mechanisms in growing up in that environment is to make yourself small and not seen and not rock the boat. And constantly assessing. Where are they? What's going on? Can I say this? Can I not say this? Can I hide? So as an adult, that got you to survive, right? But as an adult, you might find yourself responding in such a way where we have, demonstrated the difference between, being a victim and, being a co-creator of your life. Well, it's hard when you're an adult to grow up having these tools and not realizing that there's another choice. And so today, what I wanted to talk about is how do you take yourself out of feeling, what's the word? The victim, but, feeling like, oh my God, I don't really know how to be here because I don't know what's going on and I don't know what's being said. And and someone's coming, they come at you and they're attacking you.
Like you're feeling anxious about what could be happening or being said or being felt on the other side. Is that kind of what you need?
Constantly putting your feelings out. You're constantly so yeah, people are exhausted. And most of the time an empath is always hooked up with a narcissist for the fact that that's usually how the dynamic works.
Yeah.
Because a narcissist needs somebody like that in order for them to feel powerful. Because if they were with another narcissist, they'd be butting heads all the time. It'd be super toxic. That's even worse.
Right.
But I'm talking about somebody who is, that they leave the world with kindness and that they want a better environment for themselves and for others, and they want to help other people heal. They want to be, they want to have acts of service as their goodness on the planet.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happens is that empath coming out of, a really challenging situation is constantly trying to assess what's going on as an adult. And they'll put themselves back in relationships where they know how to function. That's why you always see a succession of narcissism, because this person only knows how to respond to that energy and that frequency in that environment.
Right. And it does.
It's not good or bad. It just is what you're used to.
Yeah. It's like your comfort zone, sort of, even though it's not a great comfort zone to be in. And it takes a ton of energy, mental energy, which I don't think people think about all the time, mental energy to tread lightly all the time around the person or the situation or whatever it is, to constantly, like you said, be putting out your feelers and trying to assess everything. That takes energy out of you too. And that's contributes to all that exhaustion that you talked about.
Right. So, the first step, as we've said before, is to, stop having the relationship with those people. So, and when you step away from that, your nervous system, you, the empath, your nervous system is in shock. You have been pummeled at a level that most people don't understand, right? So you can see it in the physical plane by the interaction and the communication, but on an energetic spectrum, a narcissist is constantly extracting your energy. They're using your energy. It's called narcissistic supply, right? And you, as a child in that situation, you're giving willingly because those are the people that need you. You don't know any better,
right?
Then, and if you've survived that dynamic, now you're probably, as an adult, many things are challenging and confusing, and like, why did my husband, or why did my wife, why were they like that? Because that's how you were raised, and you weren't conscious of it, and you attracted somebody that feeds that energetic pattern for you to feel like you're in a relationship.
Right.
The hardest part is to wake up and go, wow, this is really unhealthy for me. This is really toxic for me. And so anyway, one of the things that happens when you come out of a narcissistic relationship is you make excuses about why you're still there, or what happened, or you keep yourself there because literally it's all you know. And so when I'm talking about making new neural pathways, how do you do that? Well, the frequency to change that and to build neural pathways is to speak truth and love.
That makes sense.
Right. So if you're looking at the low vibration of narcissism, because it's very toxic and slow and it's deleterious, you think of the frequency of, God, divine connection, goddess, source, the frequency is high. So when you're speaking truth and love, you're changing your neural pathway, you're vibrating at a different frequency. And the more you do it, the more roads you build in your head. The different energy that now gets transmitted from your heart out to the world is a different frequency and an invitation to others to come towards you.
Right.
Right.
But it takes some conscious effort to do that when you've been so conditioned. Exactly. And I can see, just going back for a second to how you were raised, I can see how maybe if you didn't receive enough attention, maybe it wasn't necessarily direct narcissism kind of thing, but maybe you were kind of neglected as far as you didn't get emotional attention. And so you were seeking it. And so you get the wrong attention, because many times, as we've talked about, narcissists will love bomb you and, make you feel special and all of that, along with all the other things that go with that. And then it turns sour, but, or it's a combination. So there's a lot of different ways you can end up at this place, but yeah, definitely speaking truth and love will raise you out of it. But it's a conscious effort to do that once you realize that you need to do that, right?
It's really hard, because remember, your survival mechanism is creating lessons for you to stay safe.
Yeah, Absolutely.
So if you've always been, making excuses or dodging or, trying to make a chaotic situation work, it's hard to speak truth and love in that environment. But hopefully now you've stepped away and you have your own life and you've got your own space. And it's just those little things that we make those attunements, that we change the frequency, that we remember our divinity, and that we're a good person. Like if we just hold those things and now see through those filters, new actions will occur for you. But the question was, I don't understand why I keep tracking all these people that are like them. I've been in a relationship, I've had other boyfriends, I have friends like them, and they were speaking about their parents. So it's like, because this is your reference system, this is how you survived, this is what's radiating out through your heart into your aura, inviting people, because you're still learning the lesson, you're still becoming empowered. But the great thing is to be aware, like, oh my gosh, it looks like them. You don't have to go and engage them. You can just decide, oh yeah, I don't want that anymore. Right. Or you can decide, go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I mean, this time it's gonna be different. You're just gonna get the lesson and keep getting the lesson. Thing about the universe is that anything that you're trying to learn or to adopt or to build, source always gives you the same lesson in different forms, in different shades, same frequency.
Right.
Because they're asking, are you ready? Have you learned it? Oh, you need another go of it. Oh, you learned it. Okay. And when you're really complete around different lessons in our life, they no longer affect you. You no longer have a reaction. You're not trying to demonstrate or defend or make a stand. What happens is you go, oh, that's interesting. Look at that. Oh, I recognize that. Okay. Don't need it. Thanks.
Yeah. It's almost like you're lifted above it a little bit. Like not like you're looking down on people, but you're kind of watching what's happening from a higher level. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like that.
It's a healed level.
Yes.
Right. So the lesson is like, I've got my hands enmeshed and I'm having this thing called an event or life, and as you pull away, you're still entwined, but then you pull away and you become a little separate. And then when you're whole and you're healed, now you're completely separate objects.
Right.
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 So it's understanding that the first step is for you to be honest with yourself, for you to see how beautiful and radiant you are and how you were designed to be on the planet, and embrace that. And embrace that and embrace that and speak it and speak it and speak it. You yourself, nobody else, because the only catalyst that's going to happen for you to heal is you. Right. So you can't look to the outside world to make that happen for you. You just have to make a choice and a decision, like, I'm worth it.
Right. And put that as reminders. Be conscious about the things you consume, the things that you listen to, the things you read, the
right.
Any of the things you have control over that you bring in, just be conscious of that. And when you feel that little twinge of, the old habit coming back or the old feeling coming back, just stop and be aware of it. And, you can decide right there. I don't want that. I don't want to feel that. I'm going to redirect and change whatever I'm doing, change whatever I'm, looking at or listening to or whatever.
It really comes down to self-acceptance and self-love.
Yeah.
And if you can find those two things for yourself, and I'm not saying it's like, oh, you just fall madly in love with yourself, even though that would be awesome and great. But, when you're taking those first steps to realize, like, I am not the result of that.
Yeah.
I am not going to be the result of people treating me poorly, trying to hurt me. I am my own person. I am a, reflection of source, and I am a good person. Like if you can just extract yourself and tell yourself every day, like literally it takes 30 days, but 60, 90 days, you can wake up every morning and say that to yourself. I promise you, your brain will start rewiring itself, and you'll start having different kinds of interactions.
Right. And what was I believe you mentioned one time about writing down some of those I am statements and saying them out loud, like recording it in your phone.
Right. So
I think that's a great tip.
That I give exercises to people when we're talking, and I'll say, okay, write down 10 things that you love about yourself. And sometimes they can only come up with 6, and that's fine. And while they're doing it, I'll do it. So they'll read it, and then I'll read mine. And usually tears get elicited because I see the radiant being that they be, and they've never really had anyone acknowledge them like that. Right. Then I ask them to take those and write them on an index card and hang it on their bathroom mirror. I ask them to speak it into their phone. I am kind, I am loving, I'm compassionate, I'm beautiful, whatever all that is, and put it into their phone. And the first thing they do when they wake up is listen to that. The last thing they go to bed is they listen to that. When they're brushing their teeth twice a day, they're reading it. And if you get an opportunity to read it out loud, so you can see in all different levels, there's the speaking and the energy of it, there's the imprinting from reading it off the mirror, and there's the listening, the frequency of listening to yourself, connecting the loop. Mm-hmm. That's a foundation for you to grow a new neural pathway.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. Something that people, an action item that people could do today to start to rewire. And right. And it wouldn't hurt any of us. I mean, that's a great thing to do for anybody.
Well, I just got this this tip from Mel Robbins. Been listening to her.
Love her.
And really one of her great practices is about filling yourself up.
Yeah.
Just filling yourself up with goodness before your feet hit the pavement.
Right.
Because so much of the time, in my history, I'd wake up and I'd go, this is wrong, that's wrong. Oh, I need to do this. I got the checklist going. I got to get up and make breakfast, laundry, whatever. And so I would just fill myself up with all the have to do's and not really connecting to my divinity. And it's hard, that's what meditation is for. Everyone's like, oh, you need to meditate. But just the idea of you have to meditate, there's a level of resistance.
That's a to-do item also.
Right.
Or becomes that.
I really loved her whole thing of just, what's your goodness? Fill yourself up with your goodness from your first breath, from the moment you wake you open your eyes and you wake up. It's like, yeah. So I've been doing that, and it's changing me and me getting stuff done and be a part of the world and making a contribution.
Yeah. So I think it really makes it makes your day better, but you may not see it until you've tried to do it for a few days or a week or a month or whatever it is. And then kind of all of a sudden you might be aware that you feel lighter and you feel not as edgy, or I don't know. It's really hard to describe. And I've found that too with trying to do a little baby meditation right. Every day.
Yeah. I've been told for decades, meditate in the morning. And when I do, it's like, I think the difference is it's like, oh, I have to meditate. I have to be still. I have to have my mind, empty. I need to be breathing. But it's not the same. It's not like hers is just fill yourself up.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in this posture or sit or that kind of side.
No, and I mean, and that's what I call it. But really, it is about being quiet and being still and breathing. So I can call it what I want, but I don't go into some sort of trance or anything, but just the act of the stopping, and it's gotten to be where it feels like a get to. It's like, oh, I need to make sure that I have time because I want this time in the morning to sit and be still. And
and no, please, I wasn't.
Oh, no. I know.
I was just saying, for me, like all the years of like waking up and knowing about meditation and prayer, like, oh, it's like, oh, okay, I gotta sit in front of my altar and I gotta light my candle. It's like, I have to. And I just would find myself pushing away from it. But I love the whole thing about opening my eyes and filling myself up.
Right. And for me, it takes a little longer to just wake up in the morning. But the point is, everybody's different, and everybody has their own kind of style or how they would like to do that. But the idea of filling yourself up, taking a moment to just be with yourself and not working, not checking off the boxes yet, right. Just give yourself. And for me, that means waking up a little bit earlier than I have to. I don't have to get up and immediately jump in the shower and, get ready for work. I have built in that time and I really enjoy it. So, everybody's different. Everybody's going to have to see what kind of works for them, but just trying anything is going to be an improvement.
Yeah. And I think if you can, if you do adopt just filling yourself up from when you first open your eyes, that's a great first step in rebuilding your neural pathways.
Right.
So anyway, thanks for letting me chat about it. And
I think that's a really good topic and something people need to hear for sure. Be working on those I am statements.
Yeah. Please post it and let me know how it's working for you. Promise if you do it at least 30 days, you'll see a huge difference. About how you perceive yourself.
Right.
On the planet. And you're really the first step for everything, right?
Exactly. So, everything flows out of you.
You're changing your vibration, you're having self-love and self-acceptance. The biggest key for healthy relationships is how deeply you love yourself, is how deeply you can love another. So
right.
Thanks everybody.
Yes, thanks for tuning in, and please follow us on Instagram and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And thanks for spending your time with us today.
Ciao. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Intuition First. We're so glad that you chose to spend your time with us today. If you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please share it with them and tag us on Instagram at Intuition First. We'd love to hear what you enjoyed and what you'd like to hear more of. And until the next time, keep listening to your intuition. It really knows what it's talking about.